Hello and welcome, graduating class of 2025. My name is Max Gordon and I've had the honor and pleasure of being the Students' Union President for this past academic year. So before we begin with the formal proceedings of the day, I want to give all graduating students the recognition and congratulations they deserve. I am delighted to be here today, witnessing you all graduate, as I know how hard you've worked to get to this point. I really want to spotlight how today's graduation is all about you, the students graduating. Today is your day to remember. Remember the last-minute submissions. Remember the countless energy drinks. Remember the endless reference list, the hours in the library, the inner dialogue of conflict, whether to study or party. After all the effort and sacrifice, today is the day you start to reap the rewards. You were helped along the way by friends, family, lecturers, academic support staff, but really, you have succeeded, and today is all about your success. But we're not quite ready to start yet. Before the ceremony begins, here's the housekeeping. Now is the perfect time to ensure that your phones are on silent or turned off. Ensure that you are in the correct registered seat, as this is the order in which your name will be called when walking across the platform. When you are ushered by the marshals, please ensure that you remain in the same order as you walk up the nave and around to your left up the side aisle. Just a way of housekeeping, if the cathedral alarms sound, please stay seated until instructed. And please do not vape in the toilet. Right now, you are graduands, so your cap should be carried in your left hand, and make sure you have your graduation card with you. You will walk up the ramp and wait for your name to be called. When your name is called, you will walk across the platform and shake hands with our Vice-Chancellor and Chancellor before leaving the stage. Once you have done so, please return to your seat and move down the row. You might not return to the same seat you were allocated. This is normal and nothing to be concerned about. Keep calm and sit down. Here at BGU, we share a deep sense of accomplishment when it comes to our students and what they have achieved. So it is important to us all, students, academics, family, and friends, that when each name is called, we hear it loud and proud. Please clap and cheer. We want to hear the pride and the joy. Just limit those claps and cheers to a few seconds per person. Okay, let's give it a go. I would like you all to clap if you agree to the following. Studying at BGU was a blast from beginning to end. It's okay to go on a night out and miss a morning lecture. Steep hill feels steeper at 2 a.m. after a night out. The Union Bar offers essential study support. Fantastic. You can now consider yourselves the perfect audience. So if you are sitting comfortably, we can now begin. Thank you very much.
Please be seated. Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor, distinguished guests, staff, honorary graduands, families, friends, and graduating students. As the Dean of Lincoln, it's my very great pleasure to welcome you all to the Cathedral this morning. And first of all, I want to say to those of you who are graduating, very many congratulations. Now, I may be a little biased in suggesting this, but what better place to hold a graduation than Lincoln Cathedral, which is undoubtedly one of the greatest buildings in Europe. But this cathedral, where worship has been offered for almost 1,000 years, is not only of historical and architectural significance, it's also been a centre of learning and research for almost a millennium. By graduating here this morning, you become part of that academic tradition. And this cathedral becomes your cathedral. And so I very much hope there will be many opportunities for you to return here and that you'll always feel welcome here. Bishop Grosseteste University is obviously a Christian foundation. And so I invite you now to keep a moment of silence with me before I offer a prayer. God of wisdom and grace, we give thanks for all that has been learned and shared by those who are graduating today. As they step into new beginnings, grant them courage, clarity, and compassion. May they use their gifts in the service of others and walk always in your truth and love. This we ask through Jesus Christ, our Lord. Amen. Thank you. I hope you have a wonderful day and wish you every success for the future.
Good morning. I hereby declare this congregation for the conferment of degrees and awards to be open. I welcome all who are gathered here for this ceremony.
Madam Chancellor, distinguished guests, members of University Council, staff and graduands of Bishop Grosseteste University, I'm delighted to offer my welcome to Graduation 2025. It's a great privilege as Vice-Chancellor to welcome you to the ceremony. And let me firstly thank everyone here for gathering together for this most special of occasions. For those graduating today, many congratulations on your achievement. This is a major personal success, which is rightly yours to celebrate. This is a unique moment in your life, which I hope you'll look back on with great pride and satisfaction. You've earned the right to graduate, and given the significance of your success, with the Dean this morning, I can think of no better place than to graduate in this cathedral, a place of worship since the 11th century, but also, as we've heard, a place of learning and research. Let me take this opportunity to thank the Dean and Chapter, and I'm delighted to do so in person today, to thank the Dean and Chapter for their kind permission for the use of the cathedral. As a university with values inspired by our Christian foundation, our partnership with Lincoln Cathedral is not only a source of pride in being closely connected with one of the finest cathedrals, it's also a reflection of a shared commitment to serving the public good and progressing social purpose, seeking to make a positive impact within society, locally, nationally, and internationally. Over this past year, the university has pursued its social purpose with considerable energy. We now have students studying on campus, online, with partners, and in the workplace. And our largest ever cohort of senior leader, chartered manager, and career development professional apprentices graduating this year. By way of notable successes, across our county, the Greater Lincolnshire Social Economy Academy is providing professional development opportunities for voluntary, community, faith and social enterprise organisations. And as part of our long-standing commitment to enabling educational progression, colleagues who are experts in English literature have supported over 350 local school pupils to increase their confidence in preparing for their GCSE English. Across the country, we're honoured to have been rated first in the UK-wide National Student Survey 2025 for teaching, for learning opportunities and for assessment and feedback. And looking beyond the UK, the university is encouraging a global outlook, having supported students to undertake international placements in Madagascar, India and Thailand. And in relation to the university's research, we celebrate the expert insight provided by military historian Dr. Alan Malpass in understanding current global conflicts, Professor Andrew Jackson's work in uncovering and sharing our local, regional and landscape history, and Professor Claudia Capancioni's contribution to the design of the National Research Excellence Framework. These are just some of the many successes this academic year, and I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all of my colleagues, including colleagues from within our partner institutions represented here today, for their hard work and commitment to teaching, research and knowledge exchange. In thanking colleagues for their contribution, let me also thank the many members of staff involved in the planning and staging of graduation this year. Let's acknowledge together the fantastic contribution of the staff team in the life of this university. Now, it would be fair to say that completing a higher education qualification is an opportunity, but it's also a challenge. Moments of great satisfaction combine with moments of seemingly unsurmountable challenge. On behalf of all the graduands here, let me offer my thanks to all those colleagues, programme leaders, teaching staff, support staff and the chaplaincy team who go the extra mile in supporting our students. Let me also thank our Students' Union and particularly the President and Vice President this academic year, Max Gordon and Kimberly Gill, for their greatly valued work in representing the members of the Students' Union so effectively. And finally, let me thank all the friends and family, both here in the cathedral and those watching online, for being there for our graduands each and every step of their way, from the moment of application to this major milestone moment of graduation today. Thank you for all that you've done in providing your support. It's undoubtedly made all the difference. And so can I ask us to show our appreciation for all those who've supported our graduands, and particularly friends and family. As is often said, rather than being the finish, graduation is the start of an exciting new chapter. And so it is for your university. Rather than being the end of an era as Bishop Grosseteste University, the adoption of our new name of Lincoln Bishop University from next academic year starts an exciting new chapter. In making this change, we remain your university, ready to meet head-on the challenges and opportunities of the future. As a graduate of BG, you will remain at the heart of Lincoln Bishop. We place people at the heart of all we do, and I encourage you to use your talents, your skills, and your positive influence to make a contribution that brings benefit to others, to seek out opportunities to make a difference, both big and small, recognising that by giving of yourself in positive ways so often leads to unexpected opportunities for personal and professional growth. In thinking about your future, what comes to mind is Søren Kierkegaard's famous perspective on the human experience of time and understanding. Life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forwards. When you look back on this day, I encourage you to reflect on the progress you've made, the knowledge and skills you've acquired, the capabilities you've gained, and the status that you've earned. And in looking back on this chapter in your life, in understanding your life backwards, I encourage you to draw confidence in your ability to live your life forwards, to live your life with your university's values of courage and innovation, challenging yourself to seize opportunities, always acting with honesty and with empathy. In so doing, I've every confidence that you'll have the character, the capabilities, and the creativity to meet head-on the challenges and opportunities of the future. And we'll be with you on your journey. We'll be with you at moments of success and moments of uncertainty, times of progress and times of setback. You will always be welcome to return to your university to draw from an untapped well of encouragement and advice to help you live your life forwards. And so with the future now firmly in mind and all that's before you, as Vice-Chancellor on behalf of your university, I offer you, our graduates, my warmest congratulations. In the words of the university prayer, give us the grace to live in harmony, honouring the heritage of the past and welcoming the challenges of the future. By understanding your past, live your life forwards with confidence, building a better future, which for you, now as graduates, will be full of possibility. Many congratulations, and with every best wish for the future. Thank you. I now invite our honorary graduate, Neil Leach, OBE, to come forward, and for Dr. Matt Dunn, Head of Programmes for Initial Teacher Education, to make the presentation.
Madam Chancellor, distinguished guests, staff, honorary graduates and graduating students of Bishop Grosseteste University, I have the pleasure to present our honorary graduate, Neil Leach, OBE. Neil is the Chief Executive Officer of the Early Years Alliance, the largest early years membership organisation in England, representing 14,000 members and supporting them in delivering care and learning to over 800,000 families each year. The Alliance also provides high-quality, affordable education and care to support children and families across the country, particularly in areas of high social deprivation. Neil's journey to becoming one of the most respected voices in early years education is remarkable. Born in Greenock near Glasgow to an Indian mother and Scottish father, Neil was the second youngest of 6. His early life was traumatic due to his alcoholic father's violent and abusive treatment of his mother. At the age of 4, Neil's mother ran away with the children to Croydon. However, his father tracked them down and broke into their home, resulting in the whole family being evicted that same day. Neil recalls vividly his mother cradling his younger brother in her arms as they walked across London through the night to social services in Thornton Heath. The following morning, all the children were taken into care. Neil's early life played a huge role in shaping his future, but perhaps not as you might think. Once reunited with his mother, and despite the environment of his formative years, the love and care she gave him transcended the harshness, giving him resilience and the capacity to value kindness and gentleness above all else. A pivotal moment in Neil's life came later at secondary school when he was aged 13. Like many families at the time, money was short. Neil's mother would take adult trousers and fashion them to fit him. Whilst a kind and caring person, a seamstress she was not. On one particular day, Neil attended school wearing trousers with a thick seam down the side, where they'd been taken in by his mother. His science teacher pulled him out in front of the class and made him face his peers before declaring, "Leach, you are a disgrace." From that day, Neil hated school and left with no formal qualifications. However, Neil seized every opportunity to renew his education through day release and evening classes, whilst also working in factories, making the plastic tubes for ice pops and later fixing car aerials. This latter job sparked his early ambition to become a TV engineer, although mainly this was because as an engineer, you would get your own van to drive. To achieve his goal, Neil asked the factory boss if he were to stay late, sweep the factory floor, and tidy up the whole factory for 4 hours every Saturday morning, would he let Neil do day release? His boss agreed, and Neil attended Brighton College, studying for a City and Guilds 222 in electronic communication. He passed the first year with distinction, which led the factory manager to allow him the day release the following year without the extra work. The day Neil qualified, he quit his factory job and became an insurance agent for the co-op, whilst also studying to become an accountant. Neil applied his accountancy skills before becoming a finance director and eventually chair of the Finance Industry Standards Association. In 2000, Neil volunteered for the Preschool Learning Alliance, which would later become the Early Years Alliance. Thinking back to the importance of the love and care he experienced from his mother at an early age, this resonated with the values of the Alliance. What began as voluntary work soon turned into a full-time commitment, and in 2008, Neil became the Chief Executive Officer. Since becoming CEO, Neil has had multiple successes, including campaigning for fair early years funding, raising awareness of mental health within the sector via the landmark Minds Matter report, and leading the 2013 Rewind on Ratios campaign, which successfully reversed government plans to relax adult-to-child ratios in early years settings. Further to the COVID-19 outbreak, in 2020, Neil spearheaded work to compel the government to provide the same commitment to wellbeing and safety as that provided to schools, and to ensure adequate funding and resources were committed to the early years sector as part of the post-COVID-19 educational recovery strategy. Neil received an OBE for services to education in 2022, awarded by Prince William in the New Year's Honours List. Neil remains an unrivalled advocate for the sector, featuring regularly in national news media. He has advised on early education policy around the world and has given evidence to multiple government inquiries. Recently, Neil was invited to speak at the Beijing Youth Politics College in China on the importance of early years education. In Lincoln and Lincolnshire specifically, the impact of Neil's work can be seen via the success of the Lincolnshire Early Years and Family Service, empowering families to support their children's development in the crucial first 5 years of life. Neil's life was shaped by his early years. Reflecting on his experience at school helped him to realise that teachers have the power to either shape children's lives or to destroy them. He is passionate about achieving the former through his work with the Early Years Alliance. On a final note, Neil's closest friend came from a polar opposite socio-economic background, and yet they share the same common goals. The message that Neil would like you to take away today is that whatever your background, you can make a difference to the lives of the young people and change their future for the better. Madam Chancellor, the Senate and Council of Bishop Grosseteste University recommend you, Neil Leach, OBE, as a worthy candidate for the degree of Doctor of the University, Honoris Causa.
It is with great pleasure that I confer upon you the degree of Doctor of the University, Honoris Causa. We welcome you to our academic community.
That is the longest I've ever had to stand and remain quiet, so. Madam Chancellor, distinguished guests, university staff, and of course, graduating students, and of course, my darling wife, otherwise I'm in big trouble. I wanted to thank you for making us both so welcome today and for this wonderful, wonderful honour. I am almost speechless, and that's, as my wife will tell you, that's quite a rarity. Matt, as you were reflecting on my mother, my mind flicked back to actually, yes, she had a pretty awful life. But I felt that I wanted to just say that despite the awfulness that my father caused her, her love gave me attachment, gave me confidence, resilience. Fundamentally, she is the reason why I'm able to stand here today. So if my mum was alive and looking, and if she's looking down at me, thank you, Mum, for everything that you gave. In the few moments I have, I wanted to just share two thoughts with you. And I promise, Madam Chancellor, it is 5 minutes, no more, okay? One about, I guess, the power of education, and the other about childhood success. Some of you may recall back in April of last year, there were some awful floods in Dubai. And I typically happen to be out in Dubai for a signing ceremony with the King of Sharjah. And I was stuck in the airport for 2 whole days because, of course, no flights could get out. When I finally boarded the plane, I decided that I would watch a documentary on equality, slavery, the impact of slavery on children. And you can imagine, it was a pretty galling documentary. You'd think after 2 days of no sleep that I might have chosen something lighter, but I didn't. The reality is that there were some awful things, as I say, within that documentary. And I couldn't help thinking, how is it that humankind can be so cruel? And lots of messages within that. But the thing that struck me most of all from that documentary was a reference to a decree embedded in the Alabama Slave Code of 1833, which stated, "Any person who shall attempt to teach any free person of color or slave to spell, read, or write shall upon conviction thereof by indictment be fined in the sum of not less than $250, not more than $500. You can imagine in 1833, that was a lot of money. For me, if ever there was a statement that defined the power of education, that is it. It was clear that even in 1833, they knew the way to restrict humankind was to starve them of education. Anybody who knows anything about child development will know that what we do in the early years is not childcare. We develop and we educate children at the most important stage of their lives. But education goes way beyond the 3 R's. In February of this year, Her Royal Highness the Princess of Wales launched through the Royal Foundation her social and emotional development programme for parents and educators. And on the Sunday when she launched it, I was invited by the BBC breakfast to go in and do an interview. And I think I must have got up, it was a really early morning start. I got up, I was really miserable. On the train, I was reading all of the horrific things that happened to be going on in that particular point in time. And when we got to the studio, there was one question that was asked of me, where they said, "How important do you think social and emotional development is then, Neil?" And I found myself reflecting back to a question that a journalist had posed to me just a little while before, where they said to me, "So tell me, what do you think success looks like for a young child, Neil, when they leave a nursery, a preschool, or a childminder, and they go on to big school?" And I found myself responding, "I don't care if they can count to 100. I don't care if they can recite the alphabet. I don't care if they can name 5 planets. For me, success is a child that is kind, empathetic, loving, gentle, and will go on in adulthood to hold exactly those same qualities. There is no value whatsoever in creating the brightest sparks in the world if they do not hold kindness. And I'll try not to be too depressing with this closing remark, but I cannot help feeling that if we are to have any hope of still being on this planet in 200 years' time, it will be because we have developed kind and gentle children. I wanted to close with just one quotation from the President of the United States, a previous President of the United States. I can see you panicking for a second. And it's a quote from President Obama. He said, "We are reminded that in the fleeting time we have on this earth, what matters is not wealth or status or power or fame, but rather how well we have loved and what small part we have played in making the lives of other people better. Never doubt the role you play in making the lives of other people better. And never forget that education gives you the opportunity to do just that." Thank you.
Many congratulations to Neil and his family. And so, Madam Chancellor, I now call upon you to accept the recommendations of Senate with regard to the candidates we shall present to you.
Madam Chancellor, we present these candidates to you today that you may confer upon them for the degree of Bachelor of Arts, Primary Education with first-class honours, Emma Norwich. Leela Thomas. Charlotte Verrill. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts, Primary Education with honours, Tieni Huang. Lauren Hobbs-Plant. Amy Pearson. Kaylee Rossington. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts, Primary Education with recommendation for QTS with first-class honours, Lucas Atkinson. Jasper Barber. Grace Burkett. Sophie Bothan. Eliza Bowman. Ellie Burton. Lucy Carter. Isabella Cook. Katie Cooper. Abby Cowan. Emily Dakin. Quinn Deakin. Jessica Freeman. Numra Gaffor. Jessica Gillies. Francesca Guy. Natasha Holm. Emily Herc. Ellie Joyce. Lana Layton. Sophie Mason. Jessica Nuttall. Jenna Ornsby. Leah Richardson. Freya Seekins. Olivia Sutcliffe Ward. Elise Taylor Hooby. Lily Wharton. Evie Yeomans. Sophie York. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts, Primary Education, with recommendation for QTS, with honours, Keely Alexander. Eugenie Baines. Jacob Beers. Scarlett Bergen. Charlie Brown. Toby Camage. Amy Chambers. Grace Champion. Eve Collis. Maisie Doherty. Taylor Douglas. Eve Drury. Leah Eden. Jasmine Emery. Alana Enderby. Holly Gidley. Lara Goodburn. Katie Haslam. Rebecca Howarth. Emily Hill. Paisley Hoggart. Emily Hornby. Abigail Howlett. Erin Humphries. Alfie Hutchinson. Amy Jacqueline. Madeline Jackson. Bethany Kirk. Rachel Lawton. Georgia Mackenzie. Macy McCall. Abigail Medway. Hannah Elizabeth Milnes. Emily Moore. Martha Morgan. Caitlin Mortimer. Ria Navachkinski Hughes. Megan Pinhorn. Freya Plaskett. Lucy Potts. Leah Revel. Jessica Robinson. Caitlin Rowe. Amna Sajid. Emma Schofield. Molly Sim. Charlotte Southern. Ellie Spence. Ellie Taylor. Olivia Thika. Holly Thompson. Abby West. Amy Wright. Freya Wright. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts, Primary Teaching Studies, with recommendation for QTS, with first class honours, Megan Coleman. Casey Davidson. Amber Nichols. Louay Razik. Philippa Richards. Bridie Stassen. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts, Primary Teaching Studies with recommendation for QTS, with honours, Sophie Anderson. Shannon Halliday. Kelly Hurst. Casey Jesney. Anna Kalowski. Ailsa Lewis. Leanne Mitchell. Olivia Norton. Connor Ratcliffe. Eve Reynolds. Lily Storer. Lara Tomlinson. For the Postgraduate Certificate in Education, with recommendation for QTS Secondary, Zahida Dar. Victoria Hastings. For the Postgraduate Certificate in Education, Secondary Art and Design, with recommendation for QTS, Freya Cook. Cheryl Cullingford. Evie Lancaster. Kira Quinn. Jade Rasher. Fernando Silva. Ruby Williams. For the Postgraduate Certificate in Education, Secondary Business, with recommendation for QTS, Jodie Richmond. Petra Sharp. For the Postgraduate Certificate in Education, Secondary Computing, with recommendation for QTS, Harry Norton. Henry Waller. For the Postgraduate Certificate in Education, Secondary Dance, with recommendation for QTS, Katie Saint. For the Postgraduate Certificate in Education, Secondary Design and Technology, with recommendation for QTS, Emilian Fravagar. Heather Newton. Anne-Marie Warren. For the Postgraduate Certificate in Education, Secondary Drama, with recommendation for QTS, Emily Brown. Oliver Bruce. Isabel Clark. Tabitha Venner-Jackson. For the Postgraduate Certificate in Education, Secondary English, with recommendation for QTS, Rosie Brown. Scarlett Clayton. Yiva Camberavate. Georgie Lepley. Lucy Pettiford. Amelia Sakelaru. Ben Smith. Ellie Smith. Abigail States. Isabel Stokes. Lucy Topless. For the Postgraduate Certificate in Education, Secondary Geography, with recommendation for QTS, Jackson Conway. Damien Hill. Adam Story. Victoria Whiteman. For the Postgraduate Certificate in Education, Secondary History, with recommendation for QTS, Abby Baldock. Rory Cameron. Kaylee Darrock. Ebony Dove. Joshua Fletcher. Bevan May Laurie. Jack Marsden. William Smith. For the Postgraduate Certificate in Education, Secondary Mathematics, with recommendation for QTS, Emily Palmer. Chloe Smith. Jack Smith. Roisin Wilson. For the Postgraduate Certificate in Education, Secondary Modern Foreign Languages, with recommendation for QTS, Emma Bairstow. Isabel Blue Brogden. Karina Andrea Gonzalez. Influence Ahis Omoreji. Marco Ravati. Juan Sanchez Martinez. Maria Jose Tello Anguiano. For the Postgraduate Certificate in Education, Secondary Music, with recommendation for QTS, Joseph O'Hare. For the Postgraduate Certificate in Education, Secondary Physical Education, with recommendation for QTS, Thomas Hipwell. James Roberts. For the Postgraduate Certificate in Education, Secondary Physical Education with English, with recommendation for QTS, Lucy Olivia Clark. For the Postgraduate Certificate in Education, Secondary Physical Education with Geography, with recommendation for QTS, Emma Donoghue. For the Postgraduate Certificate in Education, Secondary Physical Education with Mathematics, with recommendation for QTS, Emily Jade Hurst. For the Postgraduate Certificate in Education, Secondary Science with Biology, with recommendation for QTS, Kirsty Carters. Lauren Cooper. Alice Elizabeth Ray. Rebecca Smith. For the Postgraduate Certificate in Education, Secondary Science with Chemistry, with recommendation for QTS, Savin D'Souza. For the Postgraduate Certificate in Education, Secondary Science with Physics, with recommendation for QTS, Emma Broadhurst. Pasca Chinganga. Emmanuel Diogu. Nosakara Eghariva. Usman Iftikhar. Reginald Chibuk Ihagano. Dausai Keneke. Hamid Alawatan. Mustafaka Risk. For the Postgraduate Certificate in Education, Secondary Science with Physics, Rufus Onquano. For the Postgraduate Certificate in Education, Secondary Social Science, with recommendation for QTS, Shaden Beavers. Sophie Blackburn. Isabella Lightfoot. Georgia McPhee. For the Professional Graduate Diploma in Education, teaching post-16 and further education, Katie Bowman. Ruth Louise Grinier. Terry Martin. For the Professional Graduate Diploma in Education, teaching post-16 and further education, vocational, Helen Cash. Kelly Dudley. Helen Green. Charlotte Head. Christopher Locke. Kieran Loftus. Roxana Slight. Phoenix van Landerhem. Charlotte Wardby. For the Doctorate in Education, awarded by the University of Leicester, with a thesis titled Division, Misalignment and the Plural Practitioner, Examining Policy and Practice, a Mixed Methods Exploration of the Assessment of Practice of Reception Year Teachers in England. Angela Barley. With a thesis titled Parental Perspectives on the Educational Journeys of Their Children with Down Syndrome, Starting Points for Cultural Change, Marilena Houghton. Finally, for the Doctorate in Philosophy, awarded by the University of Leicester, with a thesis titled What's in a Name? Does calling a subject vocational lower its perceived value? Kirsty Corbett. With the thesis titled The Investigation of Chinese University Students' Motivation and Psychological Needs in Learning Languages Other than English, Li Shan Li. With the thesis titled Parental Narratives of Autism Diagnosis, Reflecting Experiences during the years 2000 to 2016, Janet Mikalski. With the thesis titled Telling Their Stories, a narrative exploration of Student-Teacher Reader Identity, Emma Rogers. With the thesis titled Motivational Frameworks in a Classroom Context, Exploring Their Utility in Measuring LOTE Learners' Motivation, Jessica Vernon.
Excellent cheering. Congratulations. It gives me great pleasure to introduce two of today's graduates who will give the closing orations. Francesca Guy, who has graduated with the degree of Bachelor of Arts Primary Education with recommendation for QTS, and Dauseya Kaneki, who has graduated with the Secondary Postgraduate Certificate in Education with recommendation for QTS.
Good morning, everyone. Standing here today, I feel incredibly proud, not just of myself, but of all of us. When we first arrived at university, many of us were nervous. I remember walking into that first session, looking around the room, not knowing where to sit and wondering how I'd ever feel comfortable. But something special happened, because in this small university, we weren't just names on a list. We became friends, we supported each other through long nights, tough assignments, and celebrated each other's successes. Today, we celebrate more than just an academic achievement. We celebrate resilience, growth, and the person each of us has become. University didn't just teach us facts and theories, it taught us how to keep going, even when things got hard. And yes, there were stressful moments, but there were also victories, laughter, and friendships that will last a lifetime. We wouldn't be here without the unwavering support of our lecturers, personal tutors, families, and friends. So thank you for believing in us, even when we doubted ourselves, and for pushing us forward when we felt stuck, and for cheering us on through everything. As we move into the future, may we carry with us not only our degrees, but the strength, empathy, and purpose that this journey has given us. And now, in whatever path we choose, may we use the tools given to us to inspire upcoming generations, to make a difference, and to leave the world a little brighter and a little better than we found it. Congratulations, everyone. Here's to the class of 2025.
Fellow graduates, today marks the beginning of a new chapter in our lives. One thing is certain, our lives will never be the same again. We have met people who challenged our long-held beliefs, made connections that will last a lifetime, and above all, received unparalleled training that has shaped us into ambitious, skilled teachers. This journey wasn't always easy. There were times we felt like giving up, but we held on, like captains steering a ship through rough waters. And today, we have arrived. Today brings so much emotion for me. As a young man growing up in the coastal area of Nigeria, I believe that the path to achieving greatness was through education. Dreams do come true. My 85-year-old mother worked tirelessly, doing hard jobs to see me through school, will be so proud to see me today. BGU, our shared home of learning and growth, made this possible.
Now that we have received our degrees, we can update our CVs with confidence and carry the BGU name, a symbol of excellence, wherever we go. We must acknowledge our incredible teachers. Your guidance has been invaluable. And not just our lecturers, but also the support staff who stood by us, answered our many questions, and made our journey smoother. We say thank you. And above all, we want to say thank you to you, to our family, for the support you gave us throughout the course of the study. As we go out into the world, we promise this. We will stand on the shoulders of those who came before us, and we will give of ourselves in service to others in line with our motto, not all things to oneself. Congratulations, class of 2025. We did it.
Wonderful orations. Thank you so much, Francesca and Dausea. Well, it now gives me great pleasure to invite the musicians of the university to give a short recital. They will sing Non Nobis Domine by William Byrd and I Was Glad by Hubert Parry. Thank you so much to the musicians of the university for that absolutely stirring performance. What a way to close our ceremony. Well, graduates, as befits your new status as members of our academic community, we ask you to join the procession while guests remain in their places until directed by the stewards, where you can meet up on the west front for all the photographs and the throwing of the hats in the air and the general celebration. I now declare this congregation closed and invite all those present to stand while the procession and our new graduates depart.